Hi, my name is Dr. Arnold and welcome to Lancashire Smiles. I've been looking at my financial statement from my accountants and I thought it would be a good opportunity to share some of my reflections, how things have been going for me as a dentist and where I'm looking to take things in the future, as well as just sharing the sorts of things that you can start to expect on your tax returns, the expenses, the costs of being a dentist, and how that ties in with income, and as well how tax then gets calculated from that. I won't be going into the calculations of tax, but just how that's impacted me in terms of the tax that I've paid from last year and the tax that I paid this year. So stay till the end to see exactly how much tax I paid this year. So let's start off with turnover. So how much money was generated working as a dentist. Let's just start with the big number of turnover. And last year, as a second year dental associate, turnover was about 124,000, which was huge for being at that stage of my career when the average is around 60 to 70,000. And this year, my turnover has now increased to 179,000. So about 180,000 in turnover this year, which is a big jump from my previous turnover. So in my second year, the gross profit was around 101,000 or 102,000 to round it off, 102,000 pounds. Whereas as a third year dental associate, my gross profit has been 135,000 pounds. So again, there's been a jump in the gross profit. We then come down to net profit, which was 90,000 as a second year dentist, dental associate. And then as a third year dental associate, the net profit was 123,000. So the cost of sales, the previous year as a second year associate, were around 23,000, and since then the cost of sales as a third year dental associate are around 44,000. So there's been a big jump, doubling of cost of sales, the cost to do the work that I do, the lab bills. So let's say if I'm doing an Invisalign case, I might be charged £1,000 for the equipment that I'll need to carry out the work. So the lab bills have shot up as I've done much more private work. One thing that starts to get looked at is the admin expenses. So things such as computer costs, accountancy, indemnity, GDC subscription, BDA subscription, any courses that you go on. For example, to be registered as a dentist, I'm paying £680 a year. When I look at my indemnity, so this is my insurance to work as a dentist. As a second year dentist, it was £1,261, whereas as a third year dental associate, it rose up to £1,867. That was for my insurance, my indemnity as a dentist. Overall, the admin expenses have stayed very similar. Last year, they were about 10,000. This year, they were about 11,000. So not too much difference in the admin expenses. As I work in a mixed practice covering NHS care and private care, I pay into the NHS pension pot as part of my NHS work. So my NHS contributions were about 15,000 as a second year dental associate. But as a third year dental associate, my NHS contributions actually dropped by more than half. So my NHS dental contributions were pension contributions were about £7,675. And that's mainly because the amount of NHS work I've been doing has been decreasing. So I'm contributing less to the NHS pension. So my accountants have actually broken down the percentage composition of my income. And whereas as a second year dental associate, my income was 47.5% NHS. That's what my income was made out of. So near enough 50-50 NHS private, whereas this current year as a third year dentist, my NHS income, the percentage that the NHS brought to my income was 32%. So whereas before it was about half, now it's about a third of my income, my total income comes from work under the NHS. I probably spend about 60 to 70% of my time actually carrying out NHS work. So I spend more time under the NHS or carrying out NHS treatments. Probably about 35% of my time I'm carrying out private work. But it's actually flipped over if you think about the income that's generated from working privately and working under the NHS. If I go back to my lab fees again, before it was about 21,000 spent on lab fees, whereas as a third year dental associate, about £43,000 was spent on lab fees, and that was to do with the increased private work I was carrying out. If I look at the average that Morris & Co states, they usually say that at my stage of my career, it's usually £4,600 that's spent on lab fees. So I'm spending about 10 times the amount that's spent on average on lab fees. But that makes sense, especially when you look at how for associates at my stage, 72.7% of their income comes from the NHS, whereas at this stage, 32% of my income comes from the NHS. So that's how the lab bills are much higher, 10 times higher for me than what is seen on average for NHS dentists at my stage. When it comes to tax now, as a dentist, you will pay tax for a January deadline and then for a July deadline as well. So you'll pay tax twice in a year. Basically, you pay an amount, let's say in the January deadline, and then the July deadline is to pay towards your next tax bill in anticipation of what you might earn. So the two are to keep your tax matching with what your income has been over the years. So let's look at the tax I paid as a second year dental associate, starting with the January bill. The January bill was 16,000 and the July bill was 10,000, taking it to a total of 26,000 paid as a second year dental associate. As a third year dental associate, my next tax bill is in January 2022, but I've already paid it in advance. So that was £44,000 that I paid for the January 2022 bill. For July 2022, it is expected that I'll be paying £25,000 as my tax bill in July. So together with the £25,000 and the £44,000, it's about £69,000 that I'll pay in tax. But there's been a change. I've incorporated as a limited company, so the way my tax is structured is going to be different. So it may not be that I pay £25,000 in July because my income through the NHS would have significantly dropped. So there may be a change there as I'll be paying some of the tax through the limited company and the corporation tax that comes with. So next time I do this video, well, an update on this video, I'll be able to tell you a little bit more about how things have changed now that I'm incorporated as a limited company. Some of my take-home points from looking at my financial statements and reviewing them is the fact that a lot is paid in tax. Probably about 50% of all the money that's generated goes to tax. Another thing that I've seen is the fact that my transition towards private has been clear, and it's actually going to be much more drastic in the following year as I look to completely move my dental services to become private. So I won't be doing NHS dentistry anymore, but I'll be moving completely private. So it'll be interesting to see how that impacts on my future financial statements. It's also led me to incorporate as a limited company in the future. I'd love to own a dental practice. I've got a whole vision for that. So having a limited company, Lancashire Smiles Limited, allows me now to save up towards that in a more tax efficient way. And I look to do a video on incorporating as a limited company once I've been a limited company for a lot longer. I hope this video has been enlightening as to what you can expect for life as a dentist, financial statements, the cost of sales, the cost of being a dentist, as well as how the income can start to look. And if you've got any types of videos that you'd like me to make sure to leave it down in the comments below. If you want to see a breakdown of how my income was as a foundation dentist, first year dentist, and a second year dentist, associate dentist, then make sure to have a look at one of the videos I've done on that. And if you want to see how a monthly breakdown of income for 1 month can look, then I've also done a video for that. I will see you all at the next video.